So, good morning. I hope everybody's well and enjoying this hot weather. I have to say it does make it difficult to get motivated up here when the weather's like this. There's always the temptation of just sitting in the garden with a cool beer, but I've missed quite a bit of time over recent weeks through various little trips, so I do want to now start looking at this area. And I've got to say I've had some amazing ideas, things I've never thought of around what potentially I could do with this area. So I thought I'd just come up now and start to have a little look at potentially what I could do just as the next project to complete this end of the layout. And I've got to say, some of the suggestions, ideas have really got me thinking, so much so. I'm not the best with technology, so what I've done is I've screenshotted some of the ideas and then I've printed them off. I find that when I read a comment and reply on YouTube, I can't find the comment again. So I've got a good 4 or 5 ideas going through my head, but I thought the first thing we'd do is just look at the size of the area really to see what is possible. So I know from that wall there to the front of the board, it's just under a metre, it's 96 centimetres. And then from there to the inner loop, just down here, is 1.6 metres. So it's quite a size really. And it's making best use of it. And I had 2 trains of thought really. One was to build the area up and have an upper level, and then decide what to do with this point over here and have maybe a disused track or something. Or have a big industrial scene down here. And that's what I've been toying with, but some of the ideas that have really caught my imagination is maybe a bit of a compromise, getting it, you could probably, there's enough room to get a bit of both in. So it could be a compromise, whereas I move these tunnels back, maybe somewhere to here, and then have that section built up so I can get more roads in, some houses, maybe a row of shops and other bits, and then still have enough area to have some kind of industry down here. You know, a couple of suggestions where if you had an industry with taller buildings, it would disguise some of this area anyway. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to play around moving these tunnels around. I mean, these are only scrap ones, I'll probably redo them. And then just cut out a cardboard template just to cover that area to see what it looks like and get a feel for it. So before I start cutting up cardboard templates, there's probably a couple of options I want to look at. The first one will be having the tunnels there just before that point, and then bringing a wall out this way, joining up there. So I would keep this, I would take this one out, remove the path, and then have a road coming round that way, so it would open up from there. So I don't want to know what that would look like, so obviously I'd lose all that retaining wall, but there would be a retaining wall across there. Or I could try and do it natural, but then I'm going to lose some space off here. The other suggestions that came in were just maybe to move these back, so I could potentially move them back to somewhere around there, and then have the wall in or a natural embankment there, which would give me a bit more space. It was suggested, and I thought about putting a blocked up tunnel mouth there as well, as if that point that was going to come in used to be a line. I think it might look good, but I want to use that line for some kind of industry, so I've decided against that. So I think I'm going to cut a template to fit that, and then I'm going to move them forward and do a slightly bigger template. I don't think I want to extend it out this way anymore across the front. I'm going to keep this as it is. But until I play around and cut some card up, I don't really know. I think I said in the last video, what I'm conscious I don't want to do, I'm very good at, is rushing into it. And so I just thought I'd share some of the thoughts after reading the ideas. And again, just love to get your feedback on what you think might look best. But I have decided, whatever, I am going to kind of split it. I'm going to have an industry down here, and I'm going to have a smaller upper level. So that's what I'm working towards. Okay, so after a bit of Blue Peter creativity, I think these are the two options I'm potentially looking at. But as I say, I'd love to get your thoughts. So that would be keeping the tunnel mouth there, just before that point, and this would be the upper level. As I say, maybe taking out this section so the road would be like a T-junction. I do think though, because it's further this way with the space that's left, I may need to continue this retaining wall up to there. It is quite an area of track cover then, so whether I did this retaining wall again with the magnets, so I could take it off if I needed to get under there, that's one option. I think to have like a natural slope or a hillside, it's probably going to take up too much room. So that's the first option. So then if I just take this piece off, let that train run out of the way. The second option would have been to have moved these back somewhere like that roughly, and that would be the section then covered. That would give me more scope to do something natural there, with a wall or a big fence, or I could still do the retaining wall, but it'll then give me an option, a bit more space here to have more of an industrial scene. So we'll have to see what you think. Any other ideas, any pointers would be really helpful, but at least I get to visualise what the area will be up there. And even on the smaller one, if you think about a row of terrace shops or other houses, I should get quite a bit under there. Just wondering, would that look realistic? If you had your wing wall there, obviously make this bit more undulating and have some kind of a brick wall coming down there, just to break it a little bit as opposed to having more of this. I feel like I've got a lot of retaining wall, but I suppose with all that being covered, that would just replace it, so it's not like there's going to be any extra overall. If there are concerns about access to any potential issues or derailments under there, the other option I have got is I could make a cutout in this board. There's very little in terms of wiring in this area, so I could just cut an access panel out so I could get under and get the hand in if I need to. So that is another potential possibility. So what I will do now, I'll keep looking at maybe just other comments and ideas to see if I'm missing anything, but also start to look at potentially costs involved, because there are quite a lot of buildings to go on here. And in the meantime, I'll just wait to hear hopefully any other ideas or your thoughts. Does this look alright? And we'll take it from there. There was one other option which I think I probably dismissed because I thought I'd lose too much room, and that was having these tracks as a deep cutting leading into that station. So it would probably look something like, I guess it would have to be a retaining wall really, or something. Just going round there, following the line of the track, and then maybe, I don't know, built up something like that, and whether then you could start to lower that down from there down to level and see what space. I'm guessing that would have to be probably brick wall to match that with it being a sheer side, or there's an option maybe to slope it slightly. I don't know, I just think there's nowhere near as much space there, and you're not going to see a lot of that either. It might look nice from behind the camera looking that way, see the trains going into that, but is that quite wide for a cut-in. So I kind of put that on the back burner or dismissed it really, preferring maybe to cover it, but I don't know. Another probably possibility to think about. That's just looking what it might look like from behind the layout with a cut-in. I suppose you've still got the contour of the sharpness there, so whether if you did this, whether buildings on top would hide some of it, or am I just better covering it all? Just let me know what you think. On a slightly different note, I'm just having a bit of trouble with the lighting in the room. Originally this room just had two pendant lights, one where that spot is there and then one up there, and it was just so dim, so I changed it out and put some LED spotlights in. Unfortunately the ones I bought were like these, sealed units, you can't replace the bulb, and this one's failed already, which is there. And now this one's on its way out, so the room's getting dimmer by the day. So I should have took my time and bought some where you could at least replace the bulbs, because I'm now going to have to look at replacing these with a different style. But I guess these things are sent to triers. So the more I stand back and look at this, the more confused I'm getting myself. Just deciding what to do. My biggest fear is it's hard to visualise till you actually start doing it, I suppose. And I'll just go back to this tunnel area here. I think I had maybe 3 or 4 attempts ripping it up and redoing it till I thought it was right, and that's the last thing I want to do over there. So yeah, it's given me a bit of a headache, I have to say this. But hopefully over the next few days things might become a bit clearer and I'll have a better idea of exactly what I'm going to do in this area. Start looking at buildings, factories, warehouses, whatever that may look like. So if you've made it this far, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. And any ideas, thoughts, feedback, please do share them in the comments. I'd love that.